head over to Frankie Corrado, who's wearing a similar shade of suit to me. It's like purple burgundy. It's the cool color right now, Frankie.
It's burgundy? Question mark? We're trying to figure out what it is. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, because you're more of a lighter purple, and I'm in the I'm literally in a Ron Burgundy suit right now.
You are Ron Burgundy.
Yeah, and I got the mustache to prove it. Hey, we mentioned earlier in the show Chris Johnston, our buddy, the NHL insider extraordinaire, also writes for The Athletic. He's put together the trade board. And in the top 10, we have two Montreal Canadiens goalies, Sam Montembeault and Jake Allen. So we just showed it to you. They continue to carry three goalies with Caden Primo. How long? This team is at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. I don't think they have playoff aspirations, obviously, but how long do you carry three goalies?
Well, I think that's why you can keep carrying three goalies. You don't need to have a numbers crunch on your roster, so you can carry three goalies really as long as you want or see fit. And I would imagine at some point there's going to be a team that comes calling and says, hey, we can use one of your guys, and then the conversation becomes, well, do we want to attach ourselves to one of the young goalies on our team, which I would if I were them. So I'd be thinking, okay, maybe someone values Jake Allen around the league. The issue right now is that who's going to give you above market value for a goaltender like Jake Allen when, Detroit is also carrying three goaltenders. So there is options for teams. And if someone's going to make a move for a goaltender, are they going to make a move just to bide some time right now? Or are they going to make a move that's going to help put them over the top? Like the other team that comes to mind is LA, because we know they have Cam Talbot and Phoenix Copley. But their goaltenders are playing great. So why do they need to bring in someone who's a lateral move? So I think time will tell here as far as Montreal and their three goalies, but I don't think it's urgent at all. I think at some point someone's going to say we need a goaltender to help us, maybe provide a little depth within the organization. But if I'm Montreal, I'm prioritizing the younger guys.
And I guess the only issue is Jake Allen has like that limited no trade. And if you're another team, you maybe want the younger goalie. And if you're Jake Allen, you might be going into a tandem situation. When in Montreal, you kind of know that, maybe I'm going to be the clear-cut number one.
You might, but you also might go somewhere where you have a chance at winning. And maybe you value that at this point in your career. So there's something to be said for that as well. Like Jake Allen's probably going to be a tandem goaltender like he is in Montreal. He'd be like that on any other team, and that's fine. And there's a lot of teams that do that. There's only a handful of teams that really give, a number one guy the ball and run with it. So at some point, I'm sure they want to get some clarity. And I guess at some point in the season, you want to get some other players, maybe some guys in the minors, give them a few more looks. Sure. And you're probably going to need that roster spot if you want to do that.
We also talked earlier about the Leafs defense core with Pierre LeBrun. And he mentions, of course, at the very top of Chris Johnston's trade board on The Athletic, it's 4 Calgary Flames and 3 are defensemen. You think that's who Brad Treliving should still be looking at, or is there someone else out there that you like?
No, it's those guys. It's the guys in Calgary, and more specifically, it's Chris Tanev and it's Nikita Zadorov. And if I was trying to make that trade, I would try and bring in both those guys at the same time, because if you're urgent, which the team is, and they're desperate because they need help on the back end because now Mark Giordano is going to miss some time, why just make one trade and bring someone in, because you're still another defenseman away, even if you make that one trade. I think coming into the season, we knew the Leafs needed at least one defenseman. With the way things have gone, they're obviously going to need more than one defenseman. And take a look around the division. Like, it's a tough division. Detroit is playing well. There are some teams that probably aren't going to be in the race, but it's a fight. Like, it's a fight for them. They're in a wild card spot now. Tampa gets Vasilevsky back. Okay, so the Leafs haven't had very many games this season where it's like they get off to a great start, they get a 2-goal lead, a nice cushion, and they control the game from start to finish. So 5 regulation wins this year. I believe 9 games have gone to either overtime or shootout. that means there's a lot of games where your best players, and namely up front, those guys, Matthews, Marner, Nylander, they're playing 21 to 24 minutes. William Nylander just played a game on the weekend. He played 26 minutes. The Leafs went 11 forwards that night. But because there's a lack of games where they're really in control, and those guys have to be so dialed in here, it's hard to play that kind of hockey for a long period of time.
Yep.
And it just seems like they're playing a lot of these games where it's like one mistake is going to make the difference in that game. That can be very taxing for a team. Like, there's only a couple games this season that I can really remember. The one was at home against Vancouver where they won 5-2. Matthews and Marner played just over 16 minutes that night. Like, they could untied their skates, take the clear tape off their shin pads, and checked out for the night. It's nice for those guys to have a night like that, but it's way too many nights where they're getting run into the ground, having to play overtime. It's taxing. It's taxing physically, but also mentally.
Let's talk about the Ottawa Senators. What a week it's been for them. Every week it's something tumultuous happening with this team. And, we talked to Pierre LeBrun earlier about the fact that, if there was a coach out there who's potentially on the hot seat, it's obviously DJ Smith. And Darren Dreger, though, also said this week that Steve Staios and company want to be patient with DJ Smith. Where do you stand with this? Because for me, DJ Smith seems like a great guy, but it also seems like this is a team that maybe does need a different voice in the dressing room.
Listen, there's a lot of coaches that are good guys. I was lucky. So
Yeah.
I think patience is the right thing. They haven't played as many games as the other teams around them, so that has to factor in for something. Although, like recently, if you watched Ottawa's games, it hasn't looked pretty. Like, they don't look like the team that myself and a lot of other people thought they would be. But yeah, I would still be on the side of patience, because once you make big decisions like this within your organization, you want everyone to be aligned. And especially, you just talked about the tumultuous times that the Sens franchise and organization has gone through. If you really want to put an end to that, have everyone aligned from top till bottom, and sometimes a little bit of patience is the way to make that happen.
Sens play the Blue Jackets on Thursday, so we'll see if they can get a little bit more of that positive vibe going through the dressing room, going through that building, and especially for the fan base who've been rather impatient, and understandably so. Frankie, this was great. Thanks for this.
Thank you.